if I take Tamil Nadu, for instance, right, the per capita income is just a shade under $4,000 right now. If I look at UP as an example, in the north, it's like $1,300, which is, a third of it. And then you also see the population growth rates are much lower in the south than in the north, which then also means that in terms of the tax burden, there is much more for per capita in terms of the south, and we don't get central transfers to the same extent, right? And we know that there's a delimitation exercise which is coming up in 2026. And what I'm curious about is, given this sort of divergence, both in terms of the per capita incomes and the growth and the population, and sort of the center-state relation to transfers, how do you see this playing out in the years to come? And as somebody who's from the BJP in the south, how do you see, the state and yourself navigating this divergence? And what the political and other implications of it, economics as well, might be.
Ma'am, yes, it's a very important question. I'm glad that you asked it. And also, just spending 30 seconds on the first part that you mentioned. Yes, I am not sitting here using this as a political stage. I gratefully acknowledge that a lot of great economists, including Manmohan Singh, at different points of time, and they pushed it, 1991, and others also, another Nilakaris and everybody. But I always say it is about the vision that a person has got in taking it further. It always that counts. So we are very grateful that many reforms are a continuation of many, many years, and Modi ji has amplified it in a big way. And many things that he has pushed it now. So I'm not, as a party, taking credit that everything we have done. The country is a work in progress, and we all have that humility. 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 And demonetization is a topic for a separate day. I can argue that if demonetization might not have happened, India would have gone the current China way of real estate bubble now. China's 30% of GDP is real estate, and such a bubble, that is an argument for a different day, but still we might agree to disagree on this. But coming to the very important question that you asked, the South and the North, I like to put certain things in perspective now. When India got independence, all the coal areas were mostly in the northern part, the Bihar and the Jharkhand part. Tamil Nadu wanted coal because the industries are coming this side. We have to put this in perspective before we talk about the north-south issue. In Tamil Nadu we felt, if I lift the coal from Jharkhand in train, bring all the way to Tamil Nadu, it will be costly for me. Then, that point of time, the central government decided to put something called a freight equalization charge. They said you lift the coal from Jharkhand and Bihar, you take it to Tamil Nadu. For you, the freight charge will be as equal to a coal that is lifted in Jharkhand and given in Jharkhand. Okay. So we have to appreciate this before we make any comment to say, for South to grow, North has contributed. That is a very important thing we all have to apply in the different countries. And a parochial politician can always say, I always believe in the value of every single human being, whatever religion, whatever race, whatever caste we believe, everybody has got the same potential. It is not that I say that sitting here that South we are so special and something there is magic in my DNA that we grew very fast. The contribution happened from North because they wanted industries to come here. Second, of course, North had a different set of problems. South had a different set of problems, and both the problems were very unique to each parts. And if you look at the stabler governments in South had more stabler governments than governments in North. Again, research proves that more turnaround happened in political parties in North. You don't have, here in South you have one government. For example, the Dravidian political party system. At least you have stability, though I keep criticizing them in different contexts in Tamil Nadu. At least you have stability. 5 years one government, 5 years next government. And for investor, that stability was important. Not that was not the case. Now, you are looking at the political stability across our country, and Maharashtra is India's #1 state, Tamil Nadu being #2, UP has just touched #2. There is an argument in Tamil Nadu whether UP has actually touched 2. UP is growing very fast. In another 10 years, the problem is the workers from Tamil Nadu, who are predominantly from the northern part, at last count close to about 55 lakh, 5.5 million workers inside Tamil Nadu, they come from the northern parts of India. Once they go back, what will happen to our economy? So these are important questions before we get into the other things. Because once you get manufacturing in UP, manufacturing in Bihar and different northern parts, the workers who are in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, they'll start going back to their state because it is very closer to them. So what will happen to our manufacturing base? It's a question. When people say South grew, yes, South grew, ma'am. South grew because the capital was given by us, but the labor was given by North. So many of us keep this argument there that we should not be parochial. In terms of taxation sharing, when somebody is talking For every 1 rupee I give to center gives Tamil Nadu this much, but probably UP gets more, or probably, because it's a very identified, very clear finance commission rules. It's a formula that is agreed by everybody. And any central government wants every part of India to grow. And just like they support us at different points of time in labor, or I mentioned about the freight equalization charge, the politicians now, they might say for election's sake that I will not pay taxation, Tamil Nadu should be separate, why should I give you taxation? For every 1 rupee I give, you give back 1 rupee. That is an argument we can have for politics, but practically, economically, when you speak, you have one part of the country which is not growing, it is going to be a problem for every single part. Answering the second part, yes ma'am, I think it's a very right argument you made. From 1971, we have freezed the number of MPs. We freezed it by an amendment to the constitution because of the population influx. Now, probably that amendment is getting expired in 2026, which means after this many years, the parliament will be forced to increase the number of MPs. It is not that BJP is trying to do. It is not that, I want to put this in context. In 1971, it was freezed by parliament to state, because every time the MP constituency get increased by after 10 years based on census. We said the Assam influx happened. We said a lot of things are happening. The Bangladesh fight that is happening at that point of time. Now it's a choice that we are willing to face in 2026 in our government, that the MPs have to go up. Now we have to understand in India also there are constituencies for 14 lakh there is an MP. In Coimbatore where I contested 22 lakh there is an MP. So within the constituencies you have a variation of 8 lakh. Some constituencies have 22, some have 14. But you know the basics of, we are sitting in the school of government. The basics of democracy is every person should have equal vote. That's the basics of democracy. We can't get to the American dream compromise, what happened in 1776. But when you go for the basics of every person having the same vote, then it's a different argument. Then we might say, parliament to state, because every time the MP constituency get increased by after 10 years based on census. We said the Assam influx happened. We said a lot of things are happening. The Bangladesh fight that is happening at that point of time. Now it's a choice that we are willing to face in 2026 in our government, that the MPs have to go up. Now we have to understand in India also there are constituencies for 14 lakh there is an MP. In Coimbatore where I contested 22 lakh there is an MP. So within the constituencies you have a variation of 8 lakh. Some constituencies have 22, some have 14. But you know the basics of, we are sitting in the school of government. The basics of democracy is every person should have equal vote. That's the basics of democracy. We can't get to the American dream compromise, what happened in 1776. But when you go for the basics of every person having the same vote, then it's a different argument. Then we might say Tamil Nadu had a better population control. So you bring every person having the same vote, then Tamil Nadu will lose. It's a fair argument. I'm not saying it is not at all a fair argument. Yeah. Now you bring geography, economics, per capita income into a voting problem. This is the first time a country will be willing to do it. I'm not very sure. It's a complex one, but I'm very sure that the Prime Minister and the party, they will be making a decision that doesn't do any injustice to Tamil Nadu, nor injustice to Bihar, nor injustice to UP.
Look, I want to make sure we get to some questions, but I have one more question that I.
The American people have spoken. They have spoken with a loud voice, and after 20 years, the Republican president is getting a popular vote also. And they have spoken, and it is important that everybody with the humility to understand why they have spoken in that way. And a lot of experts, they say it is a revolt of working class people against the elite, and the language what they use, all over manufacturing, and they want a lot of immigration, economy, and top issues in their mind. So it will be unfair for me sitting outside to comment on the American voters' choice, what way they made and how they made. So we have to accept that the new president has come, and 4 years we have seen what kind of president he is. Now next 4 years he has got. And we cannot just wish away America in the international politics. And whatever we say, it's a very big country, and it's a global superpower, and the biggest navy in the world, dominating force, technology capital of the world. And we talk about artificial intelligence, about 50 companies, 30 crores alone in San Francisco. We just have to appreciate the fact people cannot just ignore America and do global geopolitics. So I hope it's great. The coming era, Trump mentioned a word that peace through strength, and I like that approach. I like that word. And even the current, the outgoing president, Joe Biden, had a very tough thing when I looked at Bob Woodward's war book when I read it. And very complex space they are trying to navigate. You want to navigate a complex space, and it will be a very unfair of me to sit here with my little experience to judge on what they did. But I pray when it talks about strength, peace through strength, and which the Ukrainian president also welcomed now. So probably the war will start coming to an end. Israel has to listen to somebody, and the Hamas has to go back to where they belong, and they don't have anything to do terror on the innocent people. And the so-called state-supported forces have to go back, and they can't come outside. So a lot of things to do it. I'm sure they will do it. The Security Council will become a place where everybody's voices will be heard. And if it happens, then fantastic. If it doesn't happen, then I don't think it's a very good sign that a lot of problems are either created new or it is a continuation of old problems. Now, the way India looks at Trump's election, our Prime Minister has greeted very warmly the new incoming person. Our Prime Minister also enjoyed fantastic relationship with the outgoing President Joe Biden. And India, they always had two cause for celebration. One, Lady Grant's better half wife is from Andhra. So again, India rejoices. Kamala Harris, she has got again a link to Tamil Nadu. So the village near Tanjavur is celebrating. So we are very happy. We are very happy that